بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين. Dear brothers and sisters, our dear viewers of the قناة القرآن, we are Professor Belghith Mohammed and me, Professor Rashid Mimouni. We are happy to engage with you with this program entitled Towards a Civilized World. First of all, we thank the responsibles of this channel, قناة القرآن, to give us the opportunity to tackle relevant themes about civilization in a globalized world with its challenges and the place of values in it. And also we should also mention and acclaim the strong and courageous decision by the higher authorities in the Algerian state to promote the English language as a foreign language at all the levels, and the accompanying measures to teach English language at the third-year primary school level. Professor Belghith, would you elaborate maybe on the notion or the synopsis about what we mean by towards a civilized world? Marhaba.
Thank you. Praise is due to Allah Ta'ala, the most gracious and the most merciful. Peace and blessings upon our beloved Prophet, his family and companions. First of all, we thank Allah, the Almighty Allah, for giving us this new opportunity to elaborate on different themes in this program. Secondly, we thank, of course, the authorities of this country and this channel for setting up a new program in English to help the audience all over the world to understand better, to a better understanding of different themes and topics related with civilization and the meaning of civilization, right? Because maybe some of us might confuse between civilization, progress, and development also. And actually, what does it mean to be civilized in this world, especially with globalized world, right? Where is the place of values all in this new view? And I think we have our own view, right, to clarify it and to exhibit it to the world. Hopefully we will be competent enough to explain better what does it mean to be civilized and how can we become civilized, live with this world, in same time respecting our values and our traditions and our culture and our ethics, actually. Inshallah, with the help of Allah, we hope that it will be successful.
Inshallah. We've chosen as a title today to speak about sport and ethics.
Yes.
Why? Because there is a worldwide event today, which is the soccer, football World Cup in Qatar.
Yes.
And we know that this is related also with globalizations,
Yes.
that is captivating the attention of the world. Is all different. Then it's just a game. What should be our behavior?
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الصلاة كانت على المؤمنين كتابا موقوتا. صدق الله العظيم.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة آت محمدا الوسيلة والفضيلة والدرجة الرفيعة وابعثه اللهم مقاما محمودا الذي وعدته.
عليه وسلم: أي الأعمال أحب إلى الله؟ قال: الصلاة على وقتها. رواه البخاري.
الأحوال الجوية. موبيليس، معا نصنع المستقبل. موبيليس قدمت لكم الأحوال الجوية. موبيليس، معا نصنع المستقبل.
This is related also with globalizations.
Yes.
That is captivating the attention of the world. Is all different. Then it's just a game. What should be our behavior? What can we propose to our viewers? We are going to give an analysis, a historical, short historical point, and propose the ethics of sports. What does it mean, ethics and so on? I should mention before that the ethics of sports has started in Europe. Yani the sports, even in football, we know that the original country which hosted football is England. But as Norbert Elias, an anthropologist, English anthropologist, has said, he said that sports and football particularly, and other games, cricket, boxing in England, started as a leisure by the nobility. يعني الترفيه بالنسبة للنبلاء، طبقة النبلاء آنذاك. ثم تحولت إلى قوانين فيما بعد عندما انتشرت when it spread among popular classes, middle class and popular classes. And what he mentions, it's very important. He said not only يعني there were rules at that time which are there are also morals, values of respect, ethics, which was in the nobility. Then when we are speaking about sport, we are not speaking just about practice of sport. There is ethics. Professor Belghith.
I think Professor, even your introduction is very important, because to understand the present of something or the future of something, we need this historical overview. But actually, regardless of this historical background in sport, according to our culture, our reference, and our teachings, sport is a very important practice in our life. It should take an important time in our schedules. I mean, as a Muslims, since our religion encourages us to practice sport. If we know that the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, has taught us to practice at least 3 sports, right? Swimming, right? Training I mean, shooting or playing horse climbing, etc. So sport in Islam is very important, depending on the objective of the sport.
That's it.
Here, maybe we might have a special characteristic different from maybe many people in the world. We practice sport, first of all, to strengthen our bodies. Our Prophet said, "Al-mu'minu al-qawiyyu khayrun wa ahabbu ila Allah min al-mu'min al-da'if." A strong believer is better, khayrun, and maybe closer to Allah, better than the weak Muslim. Here, strength and weakness doesn't mean only in religious worship or in religiosity, but also in the physical side, since Islam educates the Muslim, prepares the Muslim with a balanced growth, intellectually, physically, and spiritually. As we are asked to grow intellectually and spiritually, we are also asked to grow physically and to take care of our bodies and our health, right? When the Holy Quran says, وَكُلُوا وَاشْرَبُوا وَلَا تُسْرِفُوا إِنَّهُ لَا يُحِبُّ الْمُسْرِفِينَ, eat and drink without wastage, right? In the Surah of Al-A'raf, that means it teaches us to take care of our health, because a healthy Muslim is better than an unhealthy Muslim, or one who neglects his health, right? So that's why sport is related with this objective, to strengthen our bodies, because more we become stronger, more we are able to worship Allah properly and to defend our values and our teachings and our culture and our countries, our sacred beliefs. And if we become weaker, that's why Islam teaches us to avoid anything which weakens our health, like smoking, like drug addiction, and so on. So I think practicing sport is related with the objective, which is strengthening our bodies and taking care of our health, and becoming a strong Muslims, because a strong Muslim is better in the sight of Allah, better than a weak Muslim. I think this is as an introduction to this very important issue.
Then we can see also that in Islam there is a parallelism in the values between sport values and Islamic values. But we have to say that when we are speaking about ethics, I just mentioned one fact. It is about that sport has played in Algeria an important role in the national consciousness in Algeria. During the colonization, there were cultural associations, and the sport has an important part since particularly 1920s, when there were parties and associations like جمعية العلماء والكشافة الإسلامية, the Scottish movement, were encouraged theatre in the cultural and sport, particularly boxing and football. At the time, we know that the Seigels names about football teams were Mouloudia, in appraisal of the Prophet ﷺ's birth, and the associated or of Muslim Union Musulmane du Sport. The turning point was at the Liberation War, when the constitution of the national football team, فريق الوطني الجزائري, where professionals when in their colonization from French club deserted their clubs and joined the team of the Algerian revolution at that time. This is the first thing. After independence, also there are other things, and this is important that to show that sports is playing a social role. It helps to structure identity on things like that. What is maybe the ethics? I will give, because the values, there are specific values related with sports, and it is found in the charter of Olympic charter. There are ethics. Football charters, clubs, there are ethics. There are specific values we could mention. Alors, it's principles that are have to be developed in the educational clubs. Football clubs must be schools of education. It was that in Algeria in the 70s. We had in the past decades schools of football which were a model of education. Okay, and what are the values? Some of their values, the seek for new challenges, التحدي, open to everybody. There is no discrimination, should be no discrimination in sports. Equal treatment of competition, yani equity, uncertainty of results. We should not use inappropriate ways to have the results in favor of a club or another. Result. There is no bribery or something like that, or corruption. On fair play, equitable, honest, without treachery, violence, respect of rules of the other adversaries and competitors, and so forth. What would you mention?
I think what I get from your message, Prof, there is a difference between practicing something individually, Prof, and practicing it with other people, with the others, collectively, right? When you practice something with the others, there should be rules and regulations.
That's it.
To avoid to harm anyone. But when you practice something individually, any sport you practice individually, you are free to practice it either at home or in a stadium or in the field or whatsoever. But when you practice it with collectivity, collectively, it should be organized with rules and regulations and laws. This is the first thing. Second thing, in the beginning, any sport, especially football, was just an entertainment, a game. But I think lately, sport has been politicized. Misused for political goals and objectives. That's why it became used to maybe to gain certain positions or certain statues all over the world, and we see differences growing between nations and between countries. Thirdly, also, which is also important, I think Muslim scholars, when they discuss the issues of sports and games, they mentioned that normally some scholars prohibit practicing a sport if it is related with violence. Violence. That's why some Muslim scholars maybe did not agree, for example, for boxing, since the boxer, the player, beats his adversary in the face. We know that in Islam. Even in the sacred war, you do not have the right to beat somebody in his face. The face of a person is a honorable place of his body, the most honored place. That's why in Islam we don't beat even our enemies in their faces. Maybe many people do not know this. That's why some scholars discuss the issue of boxing, for example, since it is used with a very violent way, right? So, they took in consideration the issue of ethics, right? As you have mentioned, that sport you practice collectively should have regulations and rules, like avoiding to cheat or to use bribery or to try to practice certain ways to get a better result or to win, for example, the party or whatsoever. So it's very important that we know. Even we practice sport in Islam, even you are in a program of an entertainment, there are things you should behave nicely in them, as the Prophet said, and behave with people kindly or nicely. Yes.
Maybe we can mention some of the values. We will stress or focus upon what we are calling fair play. Even in other languages, we maintain the English word. اللعب الشريف. What does it mean, اللعب الشريف? It's a complex concept by the specialists. It embodies a number of fundamental values which are parallel to values of Islam, if we can say. Fair competition, يعني اللعب الشريف والمنافسة الشريفة. Respect. Friendship, it doesn't exclude friendship. يعني team spirit اللعب الجماعي l'esprit يعني اللعب الجماعي. Sports without doping. Now they are as you mentioned, for example, to improve the capacity of the playing football, for example, he used doping, and it is forbidden. It is forbidden. Respect for written and unwritten rules, such as integrity, solidarity, tolerance, care, excellent. Tolerance is التسامح on the game. And we see that respect of others, they are very important themes, and we have that in our country, in the Muslim countries, in Algeria, we have to make those values overcome over the bad practices, violence in the stadium. It's not, they are in all, it's a world ill practice, violence by supporters. We see that there are people, they are using the supporters, they are fanatizing the supporters in order that they commit violence, and it is the spirit of sport is completely broken down. We need what we maybe call an innovative education to make those values present in our field and outside the field, probably.
Yes, I think here we need to remind our audience that if we have an important competition, for example, like World Cup or African Cup or European Cup, for example, I think when we have a competition with different people from our culture or from our beliefs, I should not mix between political issues or ideological issues. If you are different, you have your own beliefs and your own culture, I should respect that. And I should not provocate you in your beliefs or in your values, right? To use that as a provocation or to try to mix between political issues or targets or objectives with the competition we are playing together. There should be a respect between each other, as I respect you, as I respect your laws. When I come to your country or when I'm invited to your country, right, or when I visit your country, you should know that we don't have to mix between political background, for example, you came from, right, or ideological, or if you believe in something, it doesn't mean that I have to force the others and to convince the other or to provocate them to use my own beliefs or my own behavior, right, and to force you to follow me.
That's it.
Yes, we have to be very careful in that.
Probably we have to mention another aspect, is that sports has been a worldwide system, including many fields, including politics, including even economics. Big companies are sponsorizing clubs, footballers, players, great tennismen, great sportsmen and women. Then this has the business. If it enters the sports, it has not to spoil the nature of sports.
There are priorities.
That's
right. Rather than misusing sport to increase conflict between people, why we do not use sport to strengthen brotherhood in the world,
inshallah,
and tolerance? That's
I think time is running out, and we have to close with this. We hope that our viewers, dear brothers and sisters, أيها الإخوة وأيتها الأخوات, استمتعتم, يعني you have enjoyed this theme, which is very important. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله.